Hi, everybody. This is the Comic Book Cut, the amazing, spectacular, terrific, the great one, the People's Champion. Your host, and welcome back to the Comic Book Cut, and hopefully you like this video. Now, there's a New York Comic Con going on right now. It's been kind of pretty quiet for the most part, but something happened which I came across, and I don't think anyone's talked about this. And I'm happy to present it to you because I don't think anyone's talked about it. I don't think anyone's seen it. But this is from IGN. Now, I came across this just doing a Google search, And, well, let me read you the headline. 36 years later, DC will finally publish a controversial, canceled comic where Swamp Thing meets Jesus Christ. New York Comic Con 2025. Plus, the new Vertigo lineup is revealed. So we have an idea where this is going to go, I think. You would never see this mocking of any other religious figure in any of the other religions. You wouldn't see this in Islam. You wouldn't see Swamp Thing meeting, Muhammad, ever. DC's DC Vertigo panel at New York Comic Con brought with it an announcement 36 years in the making. Not only did they unveil the new lineup of comics that comprised the relaunched Vertigo imprint, but the publisher also revealed that a highly controversial Swamp Thing storyline that was canceled in 1989 will finally see the light of day. A quick history is in order. In 1989, writer Rick Veitch and artist Michael Zulli were the creators on Swamp Thing. DC balked after their planned Swamp Thing number 88 featured a storyline where the main character travels back in time, meets Jesus Christ, and morphs into the cross on Calvary Hill. DC opted not to publish the issue. Decision believed to have been motivated in part due to fears of stirring up controversy at the same time Tim Burton's Batman was hitting theaters. Now, this was a decision decided on by the DC publisher Jenette Kahn. I looked this up. She had decided not to do this story. Veitch walked away from the series in protest, and incoming creators Neil Gaiman and Jamie Delano also quit in solidarity. Neil Gaiman is one of the biggest degenerates in the comic industry, as has sort of been revealed, interestingly enough. And I guess this was the cover, or this is going to be the cover, was the cover of this. Let me continue on with this. This is, again, you wouldn't see this for any other religion. Only Christianity is attacked, because Christianity is the most powerful religion by far of any of the other religions, and it's the most tolerant. Now, DC will finally publish the remainder of his run under the Mature Reader's Focus. This is Swamp Thing issue number 88 through 91. And it'll be part of the Mature Reader's Focus DC Black Label imprint. Issue 88 features the late Zulli's original artwork. The other 3 issues will be illustrated by artist Tom Mandrake and colorist Trish Mulvihill. These 4 issues will initially be released as facsimile editions that mimic the presentation and format of the original series. They'll also be included in the forthcoming trade paperback collection, Swamp Thing by Rick Veitch, Book 3, Time Upon a Once. As for Vertigo, that beloved imprint is returning in 2026 with no fewer than top 10 new issues. The Black Label line will continue to feature darker, adult-centric stories featuring DC characters, while Vertigo will focus on creator-owned series and original concepts. Though Vertigo fans will spot one familiar face in this lineup, as Brian Azzarello and Eduardo Rizzo are reuniting for a new 100 Bullet series called 100 Bullets, U.S. of Anger. Wow. Vertigo is also becoming the new home of James Tynion IV and Alvaro Martinez's Buenos, The Nice House by the Sea, which started out as a Black Label book. Now, there's a name here you need to pay attention to. And this is Brian Azzarello. And I point him out because years ago, he did a black label book called Batman the Damned. Now, that book is famous for showing a naked, nude Batman, a naked, nude Bruce Wayne. I didn't think that was a big deal, to be honest with you, about the book. That was not the controversial part in that book. Okay? That was for shock value. What happens in the storyline, if I remember properly, is that Batman is chasing down the Joker. And he tracks the Joker down to a church in Gotham City. And at the end of the story, which is, I guess, a 4-part storyline, he tracks him to a church. He comes to the church. He gets to the altar. And there is a crucifix at the altar. And it is desecrated. The cross is desecrated by the Joker. Has a smiley face on it. As far as I know, no one was uptight about that. I was at the time. I did not review the book because of that. Okay. That was a disgusting display of desecrating a very religious symbol in Christianity. And now they're going to do this. And Brian Azzarello is anti-Christian. We know that comics is anti-Christian. Okay. We know that. That's why they push the LGBTQ satanic message. If you follow satanic beliefs, Lucifer is trans. He doesn't have one sex, and he's also the one that says that there are more than one sex, more than two sexes, and that you can go back and forth. He's the person. He's the entity that says He's the entity that pushes people to do that, and it's well known in the Bible that he's done that. So I would not expect this story to be. There was probably a reason why the DC publisher back in the 80s did not put this book out. Probably for the very reason that I'm saying. It wasn't that it was too controversial, but it was probably disgusting. It probably wasn't. It was probably mocking Christ. Now, the writer does not have a history, as far as I could tell, of doing that. But if DC is pushing that now, we know their history, as we know the comic book industry itself. And they wanted to make a big deal out of it. They wanted to put this out there during Comic-Con in New York to get this out there. And the fact that they still have people like Brian Azzarello who's anti-Christian, who did that first story with Batman the Damned back in 2018, tells you where their mentality is as of right now. And it's going to come out next year. Let me just see some of these things that they're putting out. I mean, some of the most worst individuals in comics. Dennis Camp, But again, they didn't need to put this story out there. Mariko Tamaki, what the hell's her name? She did Batman for a while. What the hell is her name? Mariko Tamaki. She's another one. Okay, she's another one that's a bad actor here. So there's no surprise that these horrible stories are still being produced and they're doing under a black label, saying, "Oh, this gives us an excuse." Yeah, okay, whatever. And this article does not brag about. This is just telling you what's going on. I read the Mary Sue just to give myself an idea of what they're looking at, and they're bragging about it. Because, like I said, Christianity is a real threat to all this stuff. The sort of forgiveness of others. People that Mary Sue don't forgive anybody for anything, and that's part of it too. But I will hopefully get some kind of feedback from this video. Please, of course, subscribe to the Comic Book Hut. And, of course, thank you for watching this video. Have a good day, and I'll see you later.